Good evening. This is Rahul Magan here is a Group Chief Executive Officer Treasury Consulting and also a second year law student. Often people come to us and ask about the treasury trainings. And most of the times I'm replying to their WhatsApp also. But unfortunately, people not been able to understand. Please do take a note that treasury is a very big market. The way treasury function of a bank works, the corporate function do not work. In banks also, the way the top banks treasury function works, the small banks treasury function do not work. Treasury function also includes one of the finest and sophisticated, which is called interbank market. If you please open the Google and check yourself and see, you will hardly find any text about the interbank market, that how exactly interbank works, how a bank passes his trade to another bank, and that too on a second note. And then we are having one thing which is called treasury accounting. Because whatever the bank is taking, whatever the position he is taking, accounting is mandatory. The bank cannot run away from accounting. And by accounting, I mean either IFRS 9 or IFRS 30. But ladies and gentlemen, some banks also do on US GAAP, which means FS 133 or FS 157. Sometimes the business combinations also works, which means suppose X bank bought Y bank. And suppose Y bank being the target is a very small bank. In this eventuality, even though it is a small bank, the accounting needs to be done, which, by the way, technically known as business combinations. I repeat, business combinations. In this eventuality, we launched a course of it's a detailed volume course which we launched. This course is titled Demystifying Financial Derivatives International Series. Demystifying Financial Derivatives International Series. We tried to cover each and every part of the financial market in this course. Like I said, this course is really very extensive. Henceforth, this course is only and only designed for the people who wanted to understand in and out of treasury function. This course is not for the people who wanted to have just a bird eye view of the treasury function. For that, we have a separate product called TRFX Academy. Now, in the part 1 of the course, the module 1 speaks about introduction to financial exchange market, foreign exchange market. In this, we covering Singapore, New York, Australia, LLF. LLF means London, Luxembourg, Frankfurt, Japan, and Dubai. And then we are covering the exposure. There are 5 kind of exposure any organization or a bank or anyone can have. Number 1 is definitely the transaction exposure, translation exposure, revaluation exposure, economic exposure, and operating exposure. So in part 1, we try to cover introduction to foreign exchange market. We also covering financial underlying and non-financial underlying. Please do take a note that the underlying is of 2 types, which is financial underlying and non-financial underlying. Part 2, module 2, we are covering onshore foreign exchange market, which is called deliverable market. Like I said that as we speak, the world holds approximately 189 currencies. And out of 189 currencies, 24 currencies are non-deliverable currencies. Non-deliverable currencies are those currencies who not only trade in their own country, but also trade outside their country. Due to the control on the capital account convertibility by the central bank of that country, there is a product called onshore offshore spread. And that onshore offshore spread creates something which is known as non deliverable market. But in module 2, we are covering deliverable markets. Here we are covering onshore markets. STFX means short term foreign exchange contract. LTFX means long term foreign exchange contract. We cover cost reduction structures like range forward, ratio forward, participatory forward, Seagull, call spread, put spread, straddle, strangle, box spread, butterfly spread, condors, diagonal spread, vertical spread, calendar spread, knock-in, knockout, chooser, barrier, look back. So basically in deliverable market, we cover all type of option contract. So the participant need to choose one currency. That currency may be USD INR, maybe GBP dollar, maybe Swiss franc, maybe Singapore dollar, maybe Australian dollar, and we would be doing the pricing of all these option contracts. When we would be doing the pricing, we would be telling the person the formula, how exactly it works, and so on and so forth. Module 3, which is onshore deliverable treasury market interest rate hedging. Here we are covering principal only swap, coupon only swap, cross currency interest rate swap. We cover dollarization swap when we convert the local currency into foreign currency, and reverse dollarization swaps when we cover foreign currency into local currency. I completely appreciate that the LIBOR is phased out. June 2023 was the last date of the LIBOR. But having said that, it doesn't mean that the dollarization and the reverse dollarization swaps ended. No, they are not. Because still the positions are taking in US dollars. Suppose any person who lives in Singapore, he is taking position in US dollar, he would be going reverse dollarization swap, he would be covering the dollar liability in the Singapore dollar liability. On the contrary, if somebody lives in US, for him there is no impact. But if he is living in Great Britain pound, you know the answer. In module 4, we would be covering offshore non-deliverable treasury market, which includes POS and COS. It is highly unfortunate that still people believe that non-deliverable market only includes non-deliverable forward. But the hard reality is non-deliverable market is amongst the largest financial market in the world. Even today, in 2023, at least I can speak about myself. I barely went through any research report which can claim an exact size of non-deliverable market in the world. So there are 24 non-deliverable currencies in the world. Out of 24 non-deliverable currency, do I have a size of the daily trading of the 24 non-deliverable currencies? I do not have. Maybe you might be having, but I do not have. Henceforth, in Module 4, we try and cover offshore non-deliverable treasury market, which is interest rate hedging. Module 5, it's really very important, and that pertains to option contract, because when it comes to options, there is a thing called settlement. And settlement is done using cuts. Unfortunately, we have many cuts in the globe, like we have Japanese cut, London cut, New York cut, Frankfurt cut, Sydney cut. There is also known as Asian cut, which is generally Japanese cut. USD INR non-deliverable options are settled using Asian cut. There is a formula pertaining to that, and one should be well aware how to compute Asian cut. So in the module 5, we are covering topics like deliverable versus non-deliverable option contracts, mechanism of deliverable option contracts, mechanism of non-deliverable option contracts, options settlement cut, options Greeks, option payoffs. In the payoff, we cover range forward, ratio forward, participatory forward, seagull, call spread, put spread, straddle, strangle, box spread, butterfly spread, and condos. So module 5 is predominantly designed to cover the settlement of the option contracts. Comes to module 6, which is really very important, and I love this, which is called credit derivatives. Here we try to cover CDS reference obligation, payment obligation, single name CDS, multi-name CDS, single basket CDS, multi-basket CDS, single trigger, multi-trigger, total return swap, basis swap, quanto swap, reverse quanto swap, accreting swaps, amortizing swaps, credit link notes, equity link notes, the different valuation adjustment like CVA, DVA, FVA, COLVA, KVA, MVA, and Basel III implications, introduction to OIS, overnight index swap. So in this, we try to cover the credit derivatives in a little detailed manner. Module number 7, we're covering onshore and offshore, which is fixed income market and fixed income derivatives. Here we are targeting 4 products. Number 1, duration, convexity, fixed income market derivative, which include bond, interest rate futures, like we have CBOT and all various interest rate futures. We have swaptions, which is swap plus options, which we are also covering. Ladies and gentlemen, many people believe that swaption is something, when you're taking a swap, then there is nothing afterwards. No. When you're taking a swap, there is a product called swaptions, which means swap plus option. People believe that swaptions are only linked with one option. No. Swaption can be created using cost reduction structures also. And this is what is called structured derivative. Then we are having FRA. FRA stands for forward rate agreements. Module number 8, implications of trade finance and foreign exchange. Here we are linking trade finance with the foreign exchange, which includes OIS, overnight index swap, MIBOR, Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate, PLR, prime lending rate, MCLR. And then we are having hedging of USD INR loans. We are linking this with IFRS 9, IFRS 7, IFRS 13. Ladies and gentlemen, Module 8 is specifically designed to cover USD INR exposure. That's why we are using the term MIBOR, PLR, prime lending rate, MCLR and all. Module number 9 is designed, it is country agnostic, which means across. Here we are covering letter of credit, site letter of credit, revocable letter of credit, irrevocable letter of credit, revolver letter of credit, bank guarantee, offshore buyer credit, and onshore buyer's credit. Module number 10, That's very important. We are covering financial modeling. And here we are covering VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index, match, offset, MTM. MTM means level 1, which is mark to market, level 2, mark to metrics, level 3, which is mark to model. Right? And then module number 11, which is we are covering cash flow modeling and financial modeling. Here we are covering cash flow models, common size analysis, forecast sheet, interest rate, forecast interest income, forecast balance sheet, debt service, cash flow charting, cash flow statement, cash flow core ratios. Then we are covering cash flow methods, which includes book value, adjusted book value, market value, multiples method, peer data value method, and so on and so forth. Module number 12, and that's something close to my heart, and I spoke a lot about this topic on YouTube and on social media, which is called carry trade. How exactly carry trade work? I said many times on YouTube that carry trade is of two types: funding carry, investment carry. When we do funding carry, it's a liability. When we do investment carry, it's an asset. Henceforth, the hedging structure of funding carry and hedging structure of investment carry both completely differs. In module number 12, we covering carry trade and treasury regulatory, which is close to my heart. Here we are covering ISDA documentation, CSX, credit support annex, one-way CSX, two-way CSX, threshold CSX, and so on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, till now we're trying to cover credit derivative, we're trying to cover ISDA, we're trying to cover the hedging program, we try to cover MTM, mark to market, we try to cover cash flow forecasting, Excel models. This all we try to cover till now. But yes, there are many other things to cover, which we're covering next video. In module number 13, we're covering type of hedging programs, which includes cash flow hedging, includes fair value hedging, include net investment hedging. Please take a note that there are limited companies in the world who do have all three in their books: cash flow, fair value, net investment hedges. And more importantly, there are limited companies we have in the world who are using options and options related products covering all three. Ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about the fair value hedges, do remember one thing, that in fair value hedges, there is a concept called liquidity swap. One part of the video is already live on the YouTube. Liquidity swap is one of the finest inventions we have in the world of fair value hedging. Because using liquidity swap, you can not only ease your accounting, but you can also able to manage your premiums, which is technically known as onshore offshore premium. Henceforth, in this, we try to cover cash flow hedging, fair value hedging, net investment hedging. EPS neutrality is completely dependent on the success of fair value hedging. If the fair value hedging is successful, EPS neutrality is possible. if the fair value hedging is not successful, EPS neutrality is not possible. Module number 14, which is called Managed Futures Program. In US, there is a thing called Managed Future Program, which means when the future trading analyst and these certified people comes into the picture and they will create your program on the relevant exchange. This is also known as CTA, which is Commodity Trading Advisors. Ladies and gentlemen, in this, we try to cover the CTA part also, and this portion is completely determined and designed for US people. Basically designed for the people who lives in US, because CTA is applicable in US. Managed future program is manageable in United States of America. But what are we covering? We are covering here private placement program, desk, equity CTA, option CTA, commodity CTA, derivative CTA, option payoff CTA, volatility clustering, drift based managed future hedging program. Second last, the 15th, value at risk, and 16th, exotic option, knock it, knockout, Asian option, barrier option, look back option, rainbow option, auto calls, worst of call, worst of put, best of call, best of put. In total, we try to cover each and everything. We try to cover the basics of foreign exchange market, which is very important. We try to cover onshore foreign exchange market, which is deliverable market. We try to cover interest rate hedging, which is deliverable. We try to cover interest rate hedging, which is non-deliverable, because still, unfortunately, people believe that when it comes to interest rate hedging, it's all about onshore. But I always saying that when it comes to interest rate hedging, it is both onshore plus offshore. Then we covering option contracts, basically the settlement piece, which includes the cuts, which includes the Japanese cut, London cut, New York cut, and Sydney cut. Here we also covering option payoffs like range forward, ratio forward, participatory forward, seagull, call spread, put spread, straddle, strangle, box spread, butterfly, condor, and all. Then module number 6, which is very important to me, at least, credit derivatives, total return swap, basis swaps, accreting swap, credit linked notes, equity linked notes, valuation adjustment, so on and so forth. Module number 7, onshore and offshore fixed income markets and fixed income derivatives. Here we covering duration, convexity, swaptions. Swaptions is a very long area. Let me tell you, forward rate agreement, caps, floors, participating collars, participating swaps, and so on and so forth. Module number 8, we covering trade finance, OIS, which is known as overnight index swap, MIBOR, PLR, prime lending rate, MCLR. We covering implications of trade finance and foreign exchange part second, letter of credit, side, revocable, irrevocable, revolver, options buyer's credit, and seller's credit. Then we covering the financial modeling, the cash flow modeling. Here we try to cover each and everything: book value method, adjusted book value method, market value method, and so. And then last but not the least, the carry trades. Carry trade is amongst the most complicated financial market product which we are having. It depends upon bank to bank, how the bank hedge this. It depends upon agreement to agreement, how the relevant agreement is allowing to hedge this. But having said that, carry trade is such a finest product that the whole life you would be learning and new dimensions in the credit trade would come into the picture. That's what I can say. We have module 13, types of hedging program, cash flow hedging, fair value hedging, net investment hedging, correlation product, commodities, linked notes, gold linked notes, Then we having managed future programs where we are covering CTA, commodities, trading advisors, and so on and so forth. Then the last, value at risk and exotic. So this is the whole course which we have designed. And in this course, we tried covering almost everything in the world of financial market, almost everything. There is barely anything we left with. I would say barely anything we left with. This course would be costing 1,80,000 rupees. I repeat, 1,80,000 rupees. And this to be done in 100 hours. So the whole 16 modules to be completed in 100 hours. 2 hours are separate as a backup, and it is costing 1,80,000 rupees. God willing, if the time would permit, I would have a similar kind of course, which would be covering the fixed income market, a complete course covering fixed income. Thank you.